Welcome to Techstination. Joining us is Lance Black, founding partner at Gabb Wireless, Gabb Wireless. Thanks for joining us, Lance.
Fred, glad to be on. Thank you for thinking of us.
Well, tell us some background for folks who aren't familiar with Gabb Wireless. We've spoken to the company, a year or so ago. Tell us some background first off.
All right, glad to do it. Thank you. So Gabb Wireless fills a big need in the marketplace. It started when our founder, Stephen Dalby, about 2 years ago, tried to find a phone for his 12-year-old son. And like many parents, he went out and looked at all the options and was either extremely frustrated with the amount of tech and the cost associated with it, or equally frustrated the fact that there was not a simple solution. And for kids, because parents struggle with this whole concept of how do I give my kid the power of the internet and social and this supercomputer in the palm of their hand way too soon, and he wasn't comfortable with it, and so he has just enough drive and passion to do something about it. Sometimes as human beings, we see a problem, we think, well, I hope somebody fixes that, and in Stephen's case, he says, I'm going to fix it. And so we set out to build the nation's first safe network and safe phone for kids so that parents have a choice and kids can be happy. So specifically, what does that mean? It means that we've created a phone that runs on the nation's most reliable network. And so we're nationwide. And the phone has everything a kid needs and nothing that they don't need. So, for example, it doesn't have internet. There is no internet connection on the phone. They couldn't try to get one if they even knew how to hack it. You can't get an internet connection, which means with that there is no browser and there's no app store. So there's no apps that come, or no. There are some apps, about 14 of them that come on the phone, but you can't go to an app store and download additional apps, which means, social media and games and so forth are not applicable. So it's a safe phone that parents can have the confidence to give their kids, and the kids are happy because they probably most likely been begging for a phone for a while, and they really want to stay connected with their family and friends, and not be influenced by all the baloney that can happen to kids too soon. And it's not, I want to emphasize that Gabb is not anti-technology. As a matter of fact, we're pretty pro-technology. We're using technology to solve a problem. But what we are is we're concerned that when too much technology is introduced too soon, especially in the developing minds of our young people, then it causes adverse effects that can be generational.
Well, describe for us the phone that you're offering now. You've got I think a new handset on the market, and what its capabilities are. I mean, certainly looks like a smartphone.
Yeah, it is. So it very much is. So thank you. We I don't have one. I don't have one on my pocket, or I'd hold it up right here. But if I were to hold it up, you'd think, is that an iPhone? It looks just like any kind of Android or iPhone. So it's touch screen. It is a smartphone. It powers up. It's a touch screen, just like you'd see on the Android operating system, where there's icons that represent certain applications, and you touch them to execute them. The phone itself is our second generation phone. When we launched a year ago, we had our Z1, which is our partner is the third largest cell phone manufacturer in the world. Their name is ZTE, and so therefore we named the phone the Z1. Well, about 3 months ago, we launched our new phone, which is the Z2, and it's got a few more bells and whistles. Like, for example, it's got a fingerprint scanner on it, which allows an extra sense of security. It's got a wider screen, a better camera. So it's an 8 megapixel camera and a 5 megapixel front picture camera. And so, kids love that. And so we've got some GPS technology for finding your phone if you lose it. And the list goes on. There's 14 apps. apps you might expect: a calendar, a calculator, a video player, a photography, a photo organizer, because they take a lot of videos and photos, and it's got like a 5.5-inch screen. Let's see, what else am I missing? A headphone, headphone and Bluetooth. Bluetooth is a big feature of it. So the Bluetooth can work for, earbuds or speakers, so that you can play your music. So even though we don't have an internet connection, there's still the ability to upload songs onto the device. So, the kid, or with the parents' help, can grab a few hundred songs and upload it to the device, and they can play that through an MP3 player. So a lot of great, through photos and videos and music and camera and texting and calling. It's everything a kid needs.
Tell us about the pricing for the phone and the service.
Oh yeah, that's the best part. So I mentioned early on that one of the frustrations by our founder, Stephen, was, oh my gosh, this thing's going to cost $600 or $800 or $1,100 to get my kid a phone, and then I'm going to put parental controls on it, and my goodness, and that's just too much. So we've priced our phone to be very, very affordable. So it's $100. It's $99 to buy the phone, and then there's no contract. It's month to month, and we have two plans. We've got a $19.99 plan and a $24.99 plan. The difference between the two is what we call what's with MMS technology. So group texting and picture texting. Keep in mind that we want to introduce technology at the right time. So you may feel as a parent that your 11-year-old shouldn't have the ability to send picture texts, but maybe your 16-year-old should. So you can upgrade the plan. So $100 a month, and then 19 or 24 a month recurring for the service.
And you mentioned the idea is to make everybody happy here, but I imagine there'll be a lot of kids who would need some convincing that they can get by without the social networks and some of the other apps that are popular, the TikToks and everything else with kids today.
Yeah, no, that's valid. And we're not blind to that fact. And I think a lot of that depends on the child. We have some parents who give their and the age of the child. There's some parents who give a Gabb phone to their 8-year-old, some that wait until they're 12 or 13. I think when you give a Gabb phone to an 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old, they're ecstatic, because it allows them to make the connection. If you're taking an iPhone away from a 17-year-old and giving them a Gabb phone, they're probably mad, right? and because they feel like that you're restricting them. So we we acknowledge that's an issue, but we have a plan around that, and that is here's the challenge, Fred. We've got teenagers on average spending 7.5 hours a day on their phone. That's average. That means some kids are spending 12 to 15 hours, and some are spending 3 or 4. But the data around that kind of use is pretty overwhelming. Like, for example, a child who spends at least 3 hours a day on their phone is 30% more likely to experience suicidal or anxiety type of thoughts. 30% more likely. And the opportunity cost in and of itself of, my goodness, if I spent that 7 hours learning to play the guitar or learning to ride a skateboard or learning to surf or ride a motorbike or whatever, look what you could become. So the way that we're kind of combating the not cool factor, if you will, as per your question, is we have a Gabb ambassador program. And if you can read about them, and you can see a bunch of videos at gabblife.com. But these are kids who live life beyond the screen. These are kids who have decided, hey, I'm not going to spend 7 hours a day on my phone, and instead I'm going to go learn my craft, and I'm going to get good at it. And not only that, I'm going to call out other people. And if I use this analogy a little bit, but I kind of view it as like smoking 2.0. In the 50s and 60s, it was cool to smoke, and today, if you see somebody who smokes, not that there's anything against smoking, but if you see somebody, you're kind of like, oh man, I wonder why they're smoking. Don't they know that's against their health? And And so we kind of think that there'll be a movement in the phone as well, with kids calling out other kids and saying, "Hey, come and let's go mountain biking, and put your phone down, and let's go live life beyond, outside of the screen and beyond the screen." So through our Gabb Ambassador program, we expect a lot of adoption by kids telling other kids, "Hey, let's go live life."
Interesting concept. And what going forward with this? Are you planning to offer plans like for older kids who might be able to do more things with a phone, or are you going to stick in this niche that you've carved out?
Well, we are always a safe phone for kids. The question is, how old is a kid, right? And that's all independent. I mean, we have quite a few customers that are in their 20s and 30s that are minimalists, right? They want to avoid some of the time wasting activities that come from apps. But no, so to answer your question, absolutely. We have, right now we've got a phone and two plans. We are going to be introducing a watch next year that will hit kind of the earlier demographic. And then we've also announced about a few months ago something called Gabb Tunes, which I won't get into too much detail there, but it's kind of a music solution, if you will. And so we will offer products and introducing a little bit more tech up the stack, up the age stack, so that we can we'll have a product for a 6-year-old, and we'll have a product for a 19-year-old.
Interesting. So for more information, people can go to gabbwireless.com. It's GABB wireless.com. Lance Black, thank you for taking the time with us.
Glad to do it. Thank you for making people aware of this important issue.
Now this. It takes a lot of listening to build a better radio, and that's just what the folks at C. Crane have done. Bob Crane and his crew, nestled among the rivers and tallest trees in the world in Fortuna, California, have made a habit of listening to their customers. And that's just what they've done in building the CC Skywave SSB, the Swiss Army knife of portable radios. For everyday listening to AM or FM in the yard or patio or on the nightstand without having to drain a mobile phone battery, it's a great companion. But it is also a companion equipped for NOAA weather information and alerts that can be life-saving. You can listen to FEMA and Coast Guard transmissions too. Beyond all of that, you can tune into shortwave signals from around the world. It's compact, easy to take with you, and built to last. The CC Skywave SSB. Click on the link at Techstination.com.